So this is not your average desktop speaker. The Edifier ES300 packs AirPlay, Bluetooth, and serious audio punch into one sleek setup. But is it really worth your money? And I've been testing out this on my desk, and what I found might surprise you. So let's break it down. So the first thing I love about this speaker is the sound signature, which is very clean and monitor style like actually. So if you like that high-res clean audio type of signature, then this speaker is definitely for you. And I also like the design, which is very classy retro design, and also has a very nice cool LED touch panel at the top. I also like the volume on the speaker, which is really good, and it also is able to fill a large room or even a small hall. And I love what you get with the technology here. You get Bluetooth 5.4 with support for LDAC, ALAC, as well as SBC codec. And I also like the fact that you get battery support here, which lasts you 12 hours, and you can use this wirelessly. And unlike many similar speakers of this genre, which only uses AC power. I also like the multi-point feature on this speaker, and you also get AirPlay support for multi-room audio. So what I think could be better is the bass performance, particularly the sub-bass performance, which honestly could be deeper. And I would also love to have a USB Type-C charging rather than using a standard AC adapter. And there is also significant latency when gaming with this speaker. However, watching movies on this is great. So the speaker comes in at a price of 989 Malaysia ringgit, or about $400 US. And comparing this to many multi-room speakers, AirPlay enabled speaker system, this is actually very affordable. And if you find value in what you hear and like what you see so far, do subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell so the YouTube algorithm can pick this up. And if you want to buy this speaker, do check out my links below. So the sound signature of the ES300 is very monitor type of audio, meaning you're going to get generally a flatter sound signature rather than a dynamic thumping sound signature. Bass wise, you're going to get an audible sub bass, but it's not one that is particularly deep. You're going to hear it generate the sub bass in doing it right by Daft Punk correctly, but it's just not going to be deep. Mid bass is also decent and gives you slightly dynamic signature. The mid vocals is fantastic in my opinion, and it provides you with a very satisfying clean and low distortion vocal quality. It's got a slightly warmer vocal notes, but provides you with a very comfortable and cozy experience. The highs are great because it sparkles so beautifully, and you can hear all the sparkles and timbres of the drum snares and the hi-hats. And although the bass and vocals are great, it doesn't overpower in a way that covers up the highs. Overall, this is a very high resolution experience, and it's not similar to some of the party speakers with emphasis on mostly heavy bass, and I'm glad that Edifier focuses on making this great high quality sounding speaker.
I've learned from my mistakes, and I'm trying to make it better. But I'm only human. Some days it's hard to move on, so I keep fighting every day. I don't blame myself for my mistakes. I'm only human. Sweat.
So let's talk about the design of this speaker. So the Edifier ES300 comes in two different colors, a black one as well as this slightly off-white color that we have here. And the entire speaker is covered in this faux leather design, making the aesthetic of the speaker very retro and beautiful. And this is also in line with their design language of the ES20 as well as the ES60. At the front here, you're going to get a large fabric grille that matches really nicely with the aesthetic of the speaker. And at the top right corner, you're going to get a nice Edifier logo there. And similar to the ES60, you will get a base at the bottom here that has some nice rubber feet, and it's also very well designed, and also an LED ring that goes around the bottom of the speaker, which is very bright. And I like the fact that Edifier also puts effort in designing the bottom of the speaker. Although it's just going to sit on the table and no one is ever going to look under a speaker, they still made it look nice. At the back of the speaker, you also get the power input as well as a USB Type-A input source, as well as the 3.5mm auxiliary in. And one thing that I really wish this speaker has is, instead of having a typical AC input port to charge the device up, but also to have a USB Type-C charging port. So at the top of the speaker, Edifier also provides you with a touch capacitive control rather than a typical button control, which gives it a little bit more class to how your speaker is controlled. And the touch control here has also this feature that you can set in the app, so it will turn off, but when you put your hands close to it, it will light up. So you don't even have to touch it and it'll light up. And the controls here for the light as well as the volume is also controlled by turning or swirling your finger. So it's very cool and very classy and very high-end. Also, you've been seeing me carry this speaker the entire review, and this speaker weighs in at 3.7 kilos, so it has a decent weight to it, but it's not so heavy that it will cause any problems. So volume of this speaker is also very good, and you get to a comfortable listening volume at around 40% volume, which is also good enough to cover a personal space or a small room. The volume gets exponentially louder when you start to get to 60% volume, and this is able to fill up a large living room with no problem. You can get very good sound coverage overall. Moving upwards of 80% volume and more, I think you should be able to cover a good size hall with sound, and testing this in my small condo really is risking neighbors calling the cops. And with the ES300, you'll be using Edifier's Home App instead of the Edifier Connects app, because this app will now allow you to play and connect via Apple AirPlay. And I also like the design of the Edifier Home App because everything is laid out in one single page, which is very easy to control. At the home page, you will see your new speaker, and although it's not color coded, and below that you also get your battery percentage, which is very useful. You also get media controls here, so you can adjust the volume as well as the play, pause or skip tracks. And below that, you get to change your inputs very quickly, and after that you also get 4 presets EQ to choose from, as well as a manual 6-band EQ to play with. Below that, you also get simple ambient lighting controls, and similar to the ES60, this speaker doesn't have any RGB lighting, but only orange and white, which is plenty classy, and I really don't want RGB on this kind of speakers. Under the settings, you also get a few more controls, and the first one, you get to configure the touch panel to light up only when your hand is close by, the one that I showed you earlier. And you can also configure the multi-point controls as well as to update the speaker. So this speaker is not made necessarily for gaming, so when you're playing games like PUBG, you will see a significant latency with the speaker, whether in Bluetooth mode or in Apple AirPlay. However, watching movies and videos on this using YouTube or Netflix is really good and has very minimal latency. Overall, this is a really good release from Edifier, and I love that the entire series that we've checked out so far, including the ES20, the ES60 as well as the ES300, all of it are great speaker at very decent price point for that range. And if you want to check out the review of the ES20, click right over here, and if you want to check out the review of the ES60, then click over on this video, and I'll see you over at those videos.